Top English talent such as Ian Wright helping their side win the Premier League seems to be a thing of the past. The Premier League has seen an influx in foreign players over the past several years, which has turned it into the most watched league in the world. Some of the world's best talent such as Silva, Van Persie, Suarez and Mata apply their trade in England, and some feel that this is holding young English talent back and causing a bad effect on the national side.
I think due to so many foreign players being in the Premier League, English players haven't had the same opportunities as they had in the past, and this has affected the national team.
Considering it's obviously an English league, I do believe there are far too many foreign players. But obviously with them they bring skills, but when you look at the Championship and the Empower League, it is homegrown talent.
I think it has to be a gradual cap though, like you couldn't just say, oh, every team must have only 30%, it'd have to be like 50% and maybe gradually get lower each season.
I mean, look at the England national team, we're not brilliant, are we? And there's very few players, hopefully some up and coming players.
I think that there's a nice balance really. I think that the foreign players give the Premier League a bit of spice, it's quite fast paced, and I think that the English players can actually learn something from it.
Forget about scouting abroad and just looking around the lower league teams and bringing them up, like Wilfried Zaha, players like that.
Yeah. We came to MK Dons to get a professional view on foreign players affecting the English game.
If they're of a standard they're going to improve the Premier League, I think it's a necessity that we have them for the development of some of the English players as well. I think people get frustrated when they see, obviously you're not going to name players, but when you see younger players or foreign players coming across, who I don't think if you're giving some of the English players a chance, I think the English players can be better. But what they bring to the Premier League and why people go for them is because they're cheaper. And the way the economy is and the way the football industry is, it's money orientated. It's about controlling your budget.
It's a real topical discussion. Obviously, I think foreign players in this country are very good. The ones who can come in and make an impact, you know, the likes of Zola, Canton, or Bergkamp, they come in and they make an impact. I think they. Overall, I think there's maybe too many foreign players coming in. Obviously, they come in because they're obviously cheaper than they are than the British players.
I think they do add something. I think they definitely do add something. I think they add tremendous flair and professionalism to the game. And arguably they probably brought the game forward in the last 15 years. I think obviously you spoke to Righty today. I think the effect that Arsene Wenger had. When you look at the side that probably Righty would have played with Btec and Verreer and Bergkamp, Overmars. Yet he had a very solid English-based back four.
Yeah.
So he had a tremendous blend of good, strong English characters, but he also had littered it with extremely gifted foreign players.
Yeah, but because at the time, Jay, we're talking about real top players, especially Dennis Bergkamp, and then Patrick Vieira, Manny Petit, Freddie Ljungberg. So yeah, we're talking about world-class players who came and bettered the team. Our team got better because of their inclusion, and Nelka, people like that. So yeah, if you're going to get players of that caliber, Jay, then you're going to make a difference. Problem you have is that is when teams and clubs are signing players that there's the equivalent English player, but they might have to pay a little bit more, and they're bringing in cheaper foreign imports because it's cheaper. Now that's to the detriment of our game. If we're talking, I don't think you could put Cantona, Zola, Vialli, Bergkamp, those kind of players, you know, Di Canio's like I mentioned, and people like that. I don't think you could put those players into a bracket where they've come and they've stopped the progression of younger English players. But like the players I'm talking about, which you don't really want to name them because it's not fair, but players that are just here because they're average players, but they can get by. Now those players for me are stunting the growth of progression of English players to get through youth systems into a first team squad training situation, then into the first team, and then hopefully up into a top four situation like a Man United, a Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal, and those kind of teams. Can we see those kind of clubs?
I think, yeah, I mean, it was probably the hardest time of my career going from here being, you know, a young prospect coming in and then going to a massive club like Liverpool. 6 months after I went there, they'd just won the Champions League in 2005. So it was massive expectations going there, and I could not turn it down, I could not go. So, but the first year and a half, 2 years there was, you know, probably the hardest of my career, where I felt like I wasn't getting a chance. There was always players, you know, getting brought in, other goalkeepers who were, you know, Italian, Bulgarian, getting brought in, and you know, saying that they were better than me. And at the end of the day, I had to fight for my place there, and then ended up getting to number 3 and didn't really get higher than that. Technically and mentally, he's one of the best goalkeepers I think that's around, and to work with that, you know, for 3 years was a great tool for me to learn and give me a great bar where I need to be in my career. Obviously, he had the chance being in Spain, originally being at Barcelona, 18 playing for Barcelona. I mean, would that happen for Man United? Would you see a goalkeeper playing at 18 for Man United who was English? I don't think you would. You see, Iker Casillas the same. He was 18, 19 when he broke into Real Madrid's first team. Would you see that in a Premiership side? No, you wouldn't.
The reason why English people national team is not that big, I think it's like because there's not enough English players who play abroad. That's what I think. If you look like every national team, you know, I mean, they've got like players in different level. And I remember when if I compare it to the French team, when we won the World Cup, well, the whole squad, they were playing in Italy, Spain or England. I think it's really important because it's like, look at McManaman for the years. McManaman was playing for Real Madrid, was fantastic. And it's like, if you look through the years, there's no many really like English people who decide to go abroad and to play. And I think that's a shame. And as like a national team, it gives you like a lot of like, because after this player is going to be tactically different and it gives you a lot for your national team.
We can learn loads. Again, we've got to be careful. There's a culture, there's climate change over there, there's all sorts of different things. We have a culture in this country, and I think it's going to be very hard for us to change that. I think the supporters, as I said earlier, they like the excitement, they like a big challenge coming in, whereas maybe the Spanish have learnt over time that they prefer more technical aspects of the game. I think what we can learn, and it goes into the youth, is that you can't just get your first team and get them to play like Barcelona. Number one, you have to have the players, but you also have to have the philosophy. You have to have everyone, not just in the first team, you have to have the whole club, supporters, to buy into a philosophy and culture.
Dele Alli is a 16-year-old central midfielder who has recently broken into the MK Dons first team after impressing for the youth side for both club and country.
He came in as an under-11. He's come from a difficult background, but he's had a lot of support around him from the club and from the family that look after him now, who also have another boy in the academy. So he's had that support around him. He loves the game, he loves the entertaining aspect, he loves having the ball. He's going to be one of those players that's most happiest when he's on a pitch.
I mean, I remember him coming in, you see him, he did have a talent, but it was just a raw talent, and there was lots of aspects to his game, and to him, you've got to remember, when kids are coming in at such a young age, they're not just developing as players, they're developing as people.
He's got lots to learn, he's got unbelievable ability, but he's got maturity to come yet. He's still just 16. You know, he's been away with England this year a couple of times, you know, been in the Nordic finals, he went to Portugal, he's now in this elite tournament playing in England at the minute. He's been around the first team, made his debut, scored a goal. Everything's great for him at the moment, but we're working really hard to keep him grounded. He is a young lad that needs some maturity, as any 16-year-old would do in his game, but if he's managed right and he's at the right club, which I think is here, I hope in time that he'll be a player that will grace the first team for England.
Dele's first started working with Dele when he was 11. You know, like all the boys, you have your challenges with them in different ways, and that makes our job interesting and you know, rewarding when you see them get to this level. You know, in terms of ability, you know, he's for me unique. You know, in England, you know, and he always has been. very creative, very imaginative on the pitch, and he's exactly what English football needs.
I just think he's got tremendous ability, Dele, a drive, a range of passing, a confidence that borders on arrogance but never crosses that line, a desire, and the talent is unquestionable.
And if he keeps going the way he's going, he'll be a player that the country will look at and think, wow, another one of the Gascoignes or the Hoddles, that type of player.
Yeah, he'll play for England.
You truly honestly believe
I think he will do, yeah.
No one can deny that English talent is being held back, but it seems the Premier League needs these foreign exports to survive as a business, and I feel that the lower leagues such as MK Dons hold the key for England's future with such young talent as Dele.